Hello, this is Xbox Ahoy, and this is episode 36 of my Modern Warfare 2 weapon guides. This time around, we bid farewell to the SMGs as we cover the last available, the Mini-Uzi. The Mini-Uzi is a fully automatic weapon unlocked at level 44. It's an Israeli weapon and is a scaled-down version of the larger Uzi submachine gun, named for its creator, Major Uziel Gal of the IDF. The Uzi was officially adopted by Israel in 1951 and entered service in 1954. It has long served as an effective personal defense weapon for tank crews and special forces. The Compact Mini-Uzi variant was first seen in 1980, with a higher rate of fire in a more concealable package. It fires the 9x19mm parabellum cartridge, typical for a submachine gun. The Mini-Uzi is a mid-damage SMG with a high rate of fire. It compares most closely to the P90, boasting a high rate of fire but with a smaller magazine capacity. The rate of fire is second only to the Vector, but the Mini-Uzi deals more damage up close, which can make a difference when you factor in the potential for headshots. A Mini-Uzi with stopping power will kill in 2 shots where 1 is a headshot. The Vector is a 3-hit kill minimum. One downside is the relatively slow reload time. It takes a little over 2 seconds to complete, and can't be effectively reload cancelled. Still, you get 32 rounds, so if you're accurate, it's not such an issue. And the Mini-Uzi has one of the fastest switch times in the SMG category, so you can quickly fall back to a sidearm if you run into trouble. There are a few available optics for the Mini-Uzi, although personally I didn't mind the iron sights at all. The red dot sights should be very familiar, and will help you place your shots at middle to long range a little better. Between the red dot and the holographic, I'd probably favour the holographic. It's my preferred choice for a close range sight. It sits a little higher than the red dot sight, reducing the effect of the muzzle flash when fired unsilenced, which can aid on staying on target. The long range optics aren't really a good choice for the Uzi. The zoom advantage isn't much help as they prove much harder to keep on target. The ACOG does perhaps grant better first shot precision, but it isn't something I'd feel compelled to use over the iron sights. The recoil remains mild, but you won't be as effective up close. The same applies to the thermal scope. If you need assistance to spot enemies through foliage or smoke at long range with the Mini-Uzi, you might want to reconsider your tactics. It might work with smoke grenades against groups of enemies in the open, but more often than not you'd be better off with a different sight. The rate of fire is pretty fearsome on a basic Mini-Uzi. However, with the rapid fire attachment, you can increase it further still. It will shave milliseconds off the time it takes to kill. However, this is at the cost of added recoil and much worse muzzle flash. The Uzi kills quickly enough without the attachment, and you do lose some ability at the edge of your effective range with rapid fire, so it probably wouldn't be something I'd use over the other attachments. Akimbo doubles your firepower, but removes any semblance of precision from the weapon. It is very effective up close, but the relatively small magazine and element of luck which Akimbo introduces means it might not be the best choice for everyone. In any case, the P90 is probably the better choice as far as Akimbo SMGs are concerned. The silencer removes the muzzle flash and keeps you off the radar, although this is at the expense of mid-range damage. It's not a bad attachment in all honesty, and if you're flanking in a team game, the silencer will allow you to take out enemies without alerting the rest of their team. In more direct, aggressive tactics, you might as well go unsilenced. The extra range might come in useful. I generally prefer an unsilenced weapon in free-for-all, as the sound of gunfire usually attracts a parade of victims to your position. FMJ was a solid choice. It was something I had to use for a while to unlock all the attachments, but I found it to be a perfectly usable choice. The penetration benefit is relatively small for SMGs, but is better than most of the other attachments with somewhat superficial effects. Extended magazines can be useful due to the fast rate of fire of the Mini-Uzi, but you should take care not to be too liberal with your trigger finger, as you'll only get 2 magazines instead of 3. Paired with Scavenger, extended mags can be useful, They alleviate the slow reload and give you a fighting chance against larger groups of enemies, or should your accuracy leave much to be desired. Overall, I'd probably recommend FMJ or the silencer, depending on precisely how aggressive you plan to be. For the more cautious, the silencer would be a better choice, otherwise FMJ will serve you well enough. I was playing a lot of free-for-all with Uzi, and my preferred tactic was to maximise my loadout speed and agility. Sleight of hand was a must to improve the reload speed. In free-for-all, you don't get long between engagements if you're using an unsilenced weapon, so the reduction in reload time is a lifesaver. The Pro benefit is useful too. Although Sleight of Hand Pro benefits SMGs the least, it does cut aim time to just 100 milliseconds from 200. And for a kit designed for speed, every millisecond counts. For my red perk, lightweight was the obvious choice. Although stopping power would enhance the weapon's killing potential in a straight firefight, it was never my intention to give my opponent sufficient time to get any shots off. So the increased mobility lightweight grants was probably the greater benefit. The Pro perk also speeds up your transition from sprinting to a ready-to-fire stance, and the Mini-Uzi has the fastest raise time of all the SMGs, so when paired with lightweight and sleight of hand, you can go from a full sprint to aiming down the sights in a fraction of a second. If your shots are accurate, your foe simply won't be quick enough to react, unless they're using a similarly nimble loadout. As with all weapons that require you to get close to be effective, Ninja Pro should always be your go-to perk for your third slot. Sound is a very important part of this game, and if your footsteps are loud, you'll find your attempts to retain the element of surprise will be futile, as you'll find yourself in the sights of enemies anticipating your arrival. Be sure to pack a fast-switching secondary with the Mini-Uzi, as otherwise you might be left vulnerable should you be caught in the middle of a reload. The pistols are the fastest choice, and the Magnum has good damage for a kit without stopping power, so it would be a good choice. The faster switching machine pistols, the M93 Raffica and Glock 18s, could also be used to a similar effect. The Mini-Uzi is a very nimble weapon, great for aggressive tactics, and has a good balance between rate of fire and recoil. Paired with sleight of hand and lightweight, it's both fast and furious, and will allow you to dispatch enemies up close before they have a chance to raise their weapon in defense. Thanks for watching. This has been Xbox Ahoy. Join me next time for the final weapon in the launcher category, the RPG-7. Farewell for now.